高一点，把胶纸交出来，所以这样就可以了。
That was really bizarre. I have been waiting since 10:02, and I got kicked out of the meeting.
But I don't know if I allowed, you got kicked out. So you I'm just curious because I didn't put a waiting room, and sometimes I can set it up, although I don't remember how I did this one, that you can join before host, or but I don't think I set it up that way, so I don't know. Anyway, welcome. Morning.
Yeah. I read your Facebook page yesterday, by the way.
Which one? The swimming one? Yeah, that was on Monday. I snuck home. So I had we had a Zoom. Today's Wednesday. It was we had Zoom, a parent thing, and I had a meeting that evening. So I went home. It was sort of between 4:30 and 5:30, and I swam my last swim, and I knew it was going to get colder, and turned off the heat, and yeah, 28th of September. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We usually have 2.5 months or so, not much more. So.
Yeah.
All right. So Lisa's dad, Christina. Okay. I didn't check again this morning how many were expected to be on. It was I think it was 15 or 18 again. So we'll see if they come on, or maybe we'll just start us off because I don't know if you have much of an update.
I've got 3 things. Yeah, just a few things to talk about, and it's more long-term and sort of what's coming up on the horizon for reports and that kind of thing. But important information is all the thing.
Okay, so I'm recording, so what we can begin because whoever we can put this recording in the distance the forum as well. So
super.
Why don't I pass it over to you? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, actually, good evening to many of you. I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Blair.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning and good evening to everybody. And thanks for joining us. It really is great for us to meet with all of you to get feedback and hopefully to continue to improve what we're doing for you. I have 3 little things to run through, and then after that, if you have any questions or concerns to share, I'd really appreciate your feedback. The first thing, I think Mr. Wolf was speaking with a couple of parents about trying to get resources, textbooks, digital resources, that kind of thing, and we are looking into that. As the distance learning hybrid model continues, we had really planned to be able to supplement all of the resources in-house, so we could photocopy and send and do all that kind of stuff. But as we're starting to get into, week 3, week 4 of people not being able to get to the school, we're starting to look at longer-term resources. So it could be scanning textbooks, it could be providing parents with ISBN numbers for textbooks. But one of the problems with that is, of course, that we live in Quebec, and some of those textbooks are really hard to get. But we're having a look at that now. So if you're scrambling for resources for math, for science, for history, please let us know. And if the resources in the class you find are not good enough to help your children, or as a student, if you're not finding it good enough, just send us a note, let the teachers know, and we'll do our best to find you some good solid resources that you can study a little bit more on your own. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that now that we're into school a few weeks, we're getting ready to put out our first report card. And so for all of the new parents, you need to log in. You have to activate your parent portal in a program called Blackbaud. And so last Friday, there was an email sent to all new parents. And also on Sunday, there was a link in the Parent Weekly. So if you haven't seen that, please make sure you go and have a look. If you haven't received anything, then you can send me an email. We'll put that in the chat maybe, at ablair@stansteadcollege.com. If you haven't received the email about logging into the parent portal to see your children's report cards, just send me an email and I'll make sure that you get the information that you need. And the third thing is more a report, a gasp of, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened, but also it looks like things are better. But on Monday night, Microsoft had a global outage for Microsoft Office and Teams and that kind of thing, and it really did affect a lot of people. But it looks like everything is on the go again, which is good. My understanding from what I read in the news was that they had, like all things like Apple, they start doing updates, and when they launched the new update, there were a couple of glitches in it that affected the authenticity, so being able to log into the Microsoft products, but they rolled it back. They've done a few fixes, and it seems yesterday went quite smoothly. So we were a little worried for a few minutes. Relying on technology to do global stuff is sometimes challenging, but I think it's all on the go again. Certainly last night we didn't have any issues, so that's good. So distance learning textbooks and digital resources. Now, please make sure if you're looking for resources, you send a note to your teacher, or you can get in touch with me as well. Don't forget to log into the parent portal. And then the last thing, of course, is that although there was a challenge with Teams for students to connect to the school and their classes, it seems to have been mitigated now. But if there is an issue, just let us know and we'll look at it from our end. And if there's anything we can do to help you on your end, we'll certainly do that. Now it's over to you. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if there's anything that we can do to help make this better or smoother, please let me know. Got a few minutes now and I have a full cup of coffee, so you can let her rip.
So I'm not sure if we have students or parents or both with us today, but either way, really, we're here for you, and we don't have a lot of, good morning, Lily. We don't have a lot of other updates. We've done them with parents earlier this week. So this is an opportunity really just for questions or sharing feedback. You know, have things gotten better from your end for your children or you as students? Let us know. Or questions.
I'll fill in some of the silence while people are thinking. We certainly feel on this end with the technology that teachers are really getting much more comfortable using the technology, knowing where to look, which camera to look into when they're addressing kids, finding ways to incorporate as best they can some chatter between the students who are online and the students in class. I know in one of the classes they're using a program called Flipgrid. And in Flipgrid, the kids have to actually record a presentation, and then those presentations, each individual presentation can be shared and viewed by all the other students in the class, and they get to see an online person actually speak and participate on their own, and it really does get them incorporated into the group. So there's a lot of new things that are coming in, and I'm really actually quite pleased.
We do have a couple of questions. I'll start with the first one. And this came up at our parent, and perhaps it was by the same person, and I think I've shared it, but the online students can't see classmates in the class and don't know necessarily who else is in the class. And they feel like they lack a sense of community. Is there a way to deal with this, a way to mitigate that?
Yeah, I guess the answer is sort of. One of the ways we set up the classroom is the first priority is that the students are able to see the teacher, to see all the information that's being presented on the board. But then the second possible task is to make sure that the kids can actually engage in the class. But we have to remember that this was set up to be a temporary measure to get kids the information until they could get here on campus. So it's not supposed to be the whole classroom experience. So it is going to be frustrating for sure. And the longer we go, it's going to maybe be more frustrating. But I think some of the techniques and tools that people are using, like Flipgrid, will give the students in the class a chance to at least participate in the class, if not see. So in all of the classrooms, there's only one camera, and that one camera shines on the board. Some teachers have taken their laptop and turned it to face the class. But similarly, when we do that, then the kids in the class can't see the kids online. So it's either one or the other and not both. So there are certainly some limitations and restrictions on what we can do to integrate visually students in the class and students online. I must say, though, that we had 2 English classes have a go at what are called Harkness discussions, where they actually had all the students line the rooms or rearrange the rooms so they're in a big circle, and the kids who are online, the students online, were on the screen. And even though the students online couldn't see the kids in the class, they had a really, really good discussion and debate about a couple of topics, and it went very, very, very well. So there is an audio and a visual component to it. The most important thing is to be heard, and so that's what we're focusing on at this point.
Thank you. The next question is, kindly remind the teachers, don't forget to make recording for distance learning students.
Yeah, it is. I am guilty of not hitting record. We sort of get into the beginning of the class and you do your attendance and you say hello to the kids online, and then you just simply forget to hit record. It is a very simple thing to forget to do. There are daily reminders. We are trying our best, and we're not doing it to spite students on that's for sure. But yes, I'll send the note out and we try our best to make sure that they're there. If there are specific classes that are not being recorded, please let us know. And I'll make sure that I can mention it to the teachers. Again, they're not doing it on purpose. It really is just one of those, it's another thing in the beginning of the class. Got to hit record, and it's a simple thing to miss.
Mr. Blair, do the students who are online see, they see when it's recording, right? They see the button that indicates it's recording. So it's okay for the students to also remind the teachers if they're in class, or?
Yeah, I think the comment is more about the students when they can't be in class.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So we're not worried if everybody's there. Not recording the class isn't as big a deal. I know exactly what they're talking about. So if you do have a student who didn't show up for class and you just simply forgot to hit record, it can be frustrating. That said, a lot of teachers, I am for sure, are posting notes. They're using Blackbaud to be that secondary catch basin for missed notes, missed assignments. It's another communication tool. So yes, we will try our best to keep recording the lessons. And it's, as I said, it's just a simple thing to forget to hit record. Once you start engaging in the class, just got to hit record.
The next question, again, is really about trying to get, and this came out the other day with parents as well in our parent meetings, trying to engage to engage our distance learning students with each other more, with our students more, and maybe we could, so really about how they could interact more with their classmates. And I think, we can maybe mention clubs. Do you want me to mention this too? Like there's the outside things as well.
Yeah, again, I'll speak on behalf of my chemistry classes. So I teach grade 11 chemistry and grade 12 chemistry. And when we get into class, the number one thing is about content and curriculum. It's also about discussion, but it's really about content and curriculum. And so that's the focus. It's less about the community part. But as Ms. Carruthers says, the other parts, the after school, the after learning parts, which is clubs, it's sports, it's advisor, it's those kinds of things. For sure, we can be doing a better job to try and get the students more engaged. But I'll go back and say we have to remember that this was supposed to be a temporary measure before students could actually get on campus. So as this grows on, we're going to have to learn a little bit more how to get the kids integrated. And I think now that the teachers are more comfortable with the tools they have to use in the classroom, this is probably a good, easy, well, maybe not easy, but a good next step to try and change cameras around, do a little bit more dialogue in class, get the kids online to introduce themselves and spend a little bit more time in class to do that. And the second thing is that next week, as soon as we get into Monday of next week, the whole advisor schedule is going to change. So we're going to be in advisor groups, so groups of students with their advisors for a longer period of time than just a 5-minute check-in in the morning that we're using as a health check. So there will be a possibility in starting Monday for different advisor groups to get together with their advisors, both online and in person. But that'll only happen once a week. It won't be every day.
And so the other opportunity that I want to encourage every single distance learner to do is to look at the opportunities for clubs. There are some clubs where distance learners can participate. That will be much more participatory. It won't, because clubs are not teaching. Clubs are getting together and doing or speaking or connecting or discussing. So it would be a really important way. Find a club that they want to participate in, and find a way to do that. But I definitely encourage that. So there is a question about when will you start advising students on universities to choose for last year students, for students that are in their final years.
Oh, in their final year. Okay. So I don't think we have many grade 12 students who are online, and those who are online have certainly been in touch with Miss Hessian and Miss Reynolds. So Erin Hessian is our university guidance coordinator. She spent a lot of time this summer putting on seminars online with all of the grade 12 students to make sure that they had viable opportunities, to make sure they had places to go, to make sure that their courses that they were taking this term and this year were right for the programs that they were going into. So if this is specifically about a grade 12 student, the person that they need to get in touch with is Erin Hessian, and we can drop, I guess, her email in the chat too. So that's ehessian at stansted.college.com. But I would be shocked if she hasn't been in touch, because she is so on top of this. Every grade 12 student has a session once every cycle with Miss Hessian. They're 1 hour long. It's called Career Education. And by now in grade 12, all of the students should be preparing all of their packages, letters of recommendation, university applications. Like, it should all be underway by now. If it isn't, then they're way behind the ball. But I don't think that's true for any of our grade 12 students.
We're looking at a grade, Lisa is in grade 10 or grade 11. I can't remember right now, but maybe talk about career.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about career ed in grade 10, 11?
Yeah, I was going to do that next. So, so for grade 10 and grade 11, the career education program is quite progressive. So in grade 10, students do an awful lot of research into fields of study that they might be interested in. That would then lead to different types of programs that are available at university to help them get into the fields of study that they want to get into. And then from there, they will go to looking at different universities, both in the United States and Canada, and often around the world, to see how an engineering program at McGill would differ from University of Waterloo, that would differ from University of British Columbia, or whatever. So they do an awful lot of research just in the foundations of, what does university hold for me? How does it get me to where I want to go in my future? So that's grade 10, researching fields of study, and then where you would go to be able to study, to prepare for those fields of study. And then grade 11 gets more into the nitty gritty of looking at universities, doing university visits. We have oodles of universities who come to our campus. Now, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. I think they're going to be doing virtual university fairs this year, but certainly students are invited to go and meet with representatives from many, many, many universities across North America to ask questions about what their universities are like, what is residence like, what is this program like, what's that program like. And so it goes from online research to in-face or face-to-face discussions about different universities and the types of programs that they run. And then in grade 12, in most years, they would have an opportunity to go and visit a university, to take a tour. I don't think that's going to happen this fall for the United States, but we might be able to get off, depending on how things go, to a university in Canada. So we found that a lot of kids have never actually been to a university, have never been on a campus of a university to see what that life even looks like. So the theoretical research is way different than what campus life is like. For all of us who've been to university, it is kind of shocking to get onto a university campus and be with older, more mature people who are in their, early 20s and are becoming adults. So it's a different lifestyle than being in high school. And to see what that looks like really gives you a taste and a flavor of what's to come, what that next step is. High school, university, two completely different beasts. So it's a good progression. So grade 10, foundational stuff, grade 11, starting to look a little bit more seriously at different universities and programs. And then grade 12 is really about following up on the research in grade 11, sending off applications, getting different letters of recommendation in, and then following through with the application process.
And again, that's built into the student's academic schedule. So that's not something that's done well, it can be done outside as well, but it's actually built into their classes.
Yep, so they'll get, I think we calculated it was almost 30 hours worth of career education in 1 year. It's about 30 cycles. It's an hour each week that they meet. In grade 11, they're actually split into two groups, a US university group and a Canadian university group. So it really is focused and targeted on where kids really want to get to do the studying after high school.
Thank you, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
That is the last question at this point, but we do have time for others. Well, that's good. I guess that's good. I guess that's good news. That's good. So some of the challenges we had at the beginning, not being able to see the board or the teachers or so on, that's great that every week that we get feedback from all of you, we're able to update and improve what we're doing on our end. So, and I think maybe I'll just reiterate, we know it's not perfect. We are not, this is not our, we're trying to make it as good as we can get, and to keep things going, and everything that you do to provide feedback makes it better. But we recognize that this is not really what all of you want. You want your children here in person, and we want your children here in person. So we'll get there. We'll get there. We know we're baby steps. We're getting little pieces of news. So I'm sure that things will start moving forward in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I just have to echo the thanks. I mean, it's so hard for us to know what it looks like on the student side of the screen because there's so many variables in internet connections and different types of computers and all that kind of stuff. So the more feedback we get, the better we're going to get. And if we're really talking about trying to integrate more students in the class with the students online, it's clear to me now that the technical issues have been sort of ironed out-ish, and I knock on wood for that. I don't want to jinx anything. But if we're really just now trying to fuss around about making sure that students in class can see students online, I think we're pretty much there, and that's not an easy, but it's certainly a much different focus than trying to make sure the technology is working, that the core things are actually going well. So for sure, it's on my plate. I put out a faculty weekly email that talks about some of the things that are on your minds, and this will definitely be part of it. So hopefully you'll see an increase in this integration. I don't know what that's going to look like yet. I'll leave that up to the different teachers and the different subjects to try and do that, but we'll certainly be on our priority list. Thanks so much for letting us know.
And I'll maybe just a reminder for all students, all your children or students, I'm not sure who we have on the line again, that the student, the team, the Microsoft team that is Distance Learning Student Forum, all questions, all issues should go right there. You don't have to wait. Your children don't have to wait for a week to have a Zoom call like this. They can get questions answered or follow up with things pretty quickly, almost immediately, through that particular team. So please don't hesitate. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you all for joining us again, and we appreciate. Thank you very much. We appreciate your support, and we know how hard it is for parents on the other side, trying to also be like the teacher supporters, encouraging and making sure your students are doing what they need to be doing, that they are online when they need to be, that they're following up their courses. So we thank you very much for being the extra teacher on the other side of the world, and keep it up. And students, keep working hard.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr. Blair. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great evening, night, or day.